Hi, it's been a while. In the interest of posting a little more, I wanted to talk about two things I made recently. See, Road made a competition for social media called Capture Your Calm. I was very interested in submitting to this one because the barrier of entry was so low, and I ended up making two bite-sized films, is what I would call them. And so in the interest of being a little bit narcissistic, but at the same time just wanting to talk a little bit more about the process, I decided to make a breakdown video of the two films. So the first one is called Throw Stress Away. See, when it comes to my projects, I have one rule. Doing and learning is better than perfection. I allow myself to be a perfectionist in maybe one or two areas per project. Because if I was a perfectionist about everything in every project, I'd never get anything done, and I'd never upload anything. So for this film, I wanted to focus on telling a story and a lot less on editing. I had three ideas for what calms me: being by a body of water, urban exploration and photography, and editing. I only had the weekend before the competition was due to make the videos. So after getting the ideas, I went straight to storyboarding. I first went on Shot Deck because I'd never used it before and I wanted to see what I could find on there. There was a lot of great things, including a lot of color inspiration, a lot of shot inspiration, but I ended up kind of going with what the first vision I had was. I then made a storyboard, and my storyboards are extremely rough, as are I think most storyboards. So instead I wrote it out, and I made more of a shot list. You had to use the Road Capture app, which is an app that allows you to control a few of the settings in the phone's camera and also use Rode's wireless cameras to actually capture the audio. My wireless Go's were a little out of date, so I didn't get to use them. However, I brought my wireless Go's anyway and attached them to my camera, which I basically used as a sound recorder. All of the audio inside of the film is using the app or the wireless Go. See, I have one of the older versions of the wireless Go, so a upgrade is very much needed, which is another reason I entered the competition. I wanted to use my drone for one of the shots, however, I wanted to abide by the rules, which was you had to use the Road Capture app, so I was going to actually tape my phone to my drone and fly it along the river. However, I then realized the drone that I have requires my phone to be used to fly the drone itself. I ended up asking one of my good friends to help me film the day. He has very little filming experience and isn't what he does for a job. However, I think that he did a phenomenal job with the direction that I gave him. The process of doing the transitions in this video, more obviously the standing to getting out the car one, but also the rock one and hand transition, which is a lot more subtle. How do you choose when to make a transition more obvious versus more subtle? I knew that for this film, the story was going to be me at my desk, me going outside, and then me coming back to my desk, right? 3 acts. The way that I chose when to do a very obvious transition was when I was changing extreme scenery. I could have obviously done a montage of me driving, getting in the car, getting out of the car. However, crafting a smooth transition can also help with that, and I wanted it to look fairly seamless. What I'm saying is I want to be Edgar Wright. When did you first find the place you visited in this video, and how? This spot is very local to where I used to live, and it's somewhere that I found when I was actually just doing some urban exploration for photography back in the day. I've done a few things there. We've done steel wool photography there. We've done more rock skipping photography there. But that area actually has a lot of rocks behind it, so it's very easy to find a whole pile of rocks and then skip them for hours. thought process of when you decided to use live audio versus post audio. So for Throw Stress Away, there was specifically a choice not to use very heavy music. I wanted one sample, guitar, very acoustic. I think I used another loop when I did the first rock skip successfully, and I wanted to do that as, it ramps up, obviously. And the heartbeat recording is actually a heartbeat being played at my speaker being recorded by the Road Capture app. Whereas the mic located to pick up the sound of the leaves rustling and picking up the stones. You can actually see the mic attached to my cuff in most of the shots, and I wanted it to be a little obvious because it is a competition for Rode, so I wanted to show off that I was using Rode equipment. But yeah, I wanted to clip it somewhere where it could be nice and close and pick up, that proper ASMR style. Why did you decide to be the lead character as opposed to the cameraman when you would have had more control? I've been making videos a long time, and I've asked a lot of people to take a lot of lead roles and character roles, and a lot of them never wanted to do that kind of thing, and they brought it up with me before. And so for this film, I didn't want to do that with someone. I wanted me to be the character, and my friend was very happy to help me because he knew that I was doing it for a competition, and he was very supportive in that. If you ever have any questions about any kind of projects that I put out, feel free to leave them in the comments. We also have a Discord that I'll leave in the description. Feel free to come in. We do some creator chat, and also we just generally hang out. Let's talk about the second submission. So this film had two goals: good visuals and be very aesthetic. Once again, I storyboarded some of the shots I wanted, but eventually ended up making a shot list. When it comes to storyboarding and shot listing, for me, I like to do some of the key ones, especially if I don't know the location. For example, the 3 shots of me going behind the tree, and also the shot at the end of the frame within a frame, those 2 were storyboarded out. For this shoot, all of the audio is straight out of the app. None of this is composited over it or anything like that. It is all just straight out of the app. I had my friend Dumday make the score for this, and when I first heard it and the choir came in, I just lifted out of my seat. Like, it was truly incredible and perfect. As I said, the goal of this film was to nail the imagery. The one thing I struggled with though is the white balance. There's no kind of manual control of white balance inside of the app, which made it a little difficult to match some of the shots. I did kind of have to play around with it in color grading, which is why this one is so harshly color graded. But also, anyone who knows any of my stuff I've done before, they know that I love stretching colors. I love playing with colors in photography and that kind of thing, so it was kind of natural to me to kind of mess with the colors quite a bit. Rode is actually known for making really good updates to things they've already put out, and including more powerful chips and stuff so that they can make better updates when things come out later. And the Road Capture app is really powerful, and I really want to use it more in future projects. There's a few things I'd like to see. I'd like to see locked white balance, locked exposure, and locked focus. Now, I know that Apple especially shuts down a lot of that kind of thing for any developers with their camera thing, but if you could add that, it would make the app a lot more powerful. Something cool about the app as well that I couldn't fit into the films is it can also record the front camera and the back camera at the same time. Something I'd like to maybe see with that is if you could record all of the back cameras at the same time. The moving behind the tree shot could have been really interesting because I could have recomposed it after the fact with all the different lenses that I had going. But having the ability to shoot in 4K was truly amazing. I could kind of reframe shots without losing any resolution, which was really nice. Once again, I asked my community some questions, so let's go through some of those. I would love to know more about the creativity of when you choose to accent the IRL sounds versus letting the music play. That question really belongs to Dumday. He really nailed how well the music should balance with the sound itself. He did a really nice job of keeping it really low in some places, but also amping up in the later parts. What is the inspiration for the title of the short film? A friend and I used to go there quite a bit, and before I moved out and moved away from that area, our plan was to actually go there quite regularly and fix up the place and turn it into our kind of hangout spot. And we used to sit there and talk about our life for hours and just what was going on, and so that's why it's called Where We Used to Talk. You play with the focus, branches, leaves, etc. in the foreground. It's beautiful. Yes, that was the plan. Visual imagery and that kind of stuff was the major focus of this one for sure. Another thing for this film is I wanted to use every single lens and almost every feature the Rode Capture app tried to use. I did try to make a shot where the phone was mounted to the camera and it was going to flick between my perspective and the perspective of the camera, using the two cameras that it films at the same time. And it couldn't match the style because it was flicking to the front camera, which has a lower resolution than the back camera. Did you add any leaves crunching in post, or was that all live? That was all live. And in fact, that was also all the way from the app itself. And that just goes to show how good the phone mics these are these days. And it didn't pick up too much of the road that was right next to the cameraman. It didn't pick up too much of the car noise that was there. Thank you for watching this kind of self-indulgent breakdowns of my bite-sized films, Throw Stress Away, and Where We Used to Talk. I'm not going to make any false promises about posting on here more, however, I do want to get back into doing more stuff like this, so if you enjoyed it, subscribe down below. And Rode, thank you so much for hosting this competition. These two films literally wouldn't have been made without you. Like, hosting this competition drove me to make 2 films, which is nuts. I haven't made anything to this caliber and that I loved so much in so long. So Rode, even if I don't win or anything like that, it doesn't matter to me. I got to make 2 films I'm really fucking proud of. Really need to upgrade this mic setup.